Hello and welcome to my cake kitchen. My name is Gladys. I'm a baker and cake artist, and over here I make simple, informative tutorials to help you navigate cake decorating easily. I also undertake baking tutorials live, and on this live tutorial, I am trying to bake almost 200 cupcakes. Now, I'm not sure if we're going to be baking all those 200 cupcakes on the live here because it's going to be a lot of moving parts. My morning has begun, but I had quite a bit of cake commitments. But these 200 cupcakes have to be all done, decorated with some frosting, and completed with some custom toppers for a special illustrious 60th birthday. It's a lot. So I thought it would be a good thing to bring you along the journey so you can see some aspects, if not all, of what is expected to be done. So behind me here is much of my prep work. I have already had a cup of tea. If you've been on this channel, you'll find out that a cup of tea is a calming mechanism for me over here. I love a cup of tea to go because there's a lot happening. So I won't waste your time. We're baking some chocolate cupcakes to start with. There's going to be about six, well, let me get my numbers right. There's going to be about 120 vanilla cupcakes, right? The sponge is going to be vanilla, but there are going to be different toppings on the vanilla. So there's 60 of just vanilla on vanilla, which is vanilla cupcake with vanilla buttercream, Swiss meringue buttercream, then vanilla and vanilla raspberry meringue. And then we're going to have chocolate cupcake and red velvet. So for each box, there's going to be 3 of each flavor. So 3 vanilla, classic vanilla on vanilla, 3 red velvet, 3 chocolate, and then 3 vanilla raspberry or strawberry meringue sort of. So it works out 120 vanilla sponge, 60 chocolate cupcakes, and 60 red velvet cupcakes. So that is what I am going to be doing today. I hope you can come along and get to know the process. I have 2 mixers here, right? But because there are different flavors and moving parts, I'm not sure. So you're going to see me in real time trying to get through all of this. If I wasn't live streaming this, I probably would be getting on with it and there would be a lot of mess here. But trying to stream it means I have to keep organized, which means it adds a little layer of tasks. But if you're just joining me in the chat, hello there. My name is Gladys. It's a pleasure to have you. There is Modzi. You're a new sub. There's Emir. Hello, Amir. Hello. I know there are people who join me here and are silent watchers over there. I appreciate all of you. It is exactly 1:47 here in the UK, and I'm baking from my UK-based home kitchen. This is me on a baking day when I have 200 plus cupcakes to get through. But on top of the cupcakes, I still have some cakes for the weekend order. And I'm also emceeing an event this weekend that requires some responsibility, organizing my hosting notes and all of that, all of which are secondary at the moment. And I'm just trying to plunge into making these cupcakes. So first of all, let's start by preheating this oven. And perhaps just to give you some value for the live, I'm going to give you some tips on how to keep organized. That is, if I can prove by action that I can be organized through this process. It's a lot, but I will try my best. So the chocolate cupcakes I am going to be making here are, bear with me. The chocolate cupcakes I'm going to be making here are cupcakes that I have made right on this channel. The recipe is available for you to check. I'll link those up in the description box if needed. So don't you worry. And if you have questions, leave them in the chat. And if you want to say hi, leave us a wave or a thumbs up. And whilst you're at it, if you're just subscribing and you're a new person on the channel, thank you for the support. If you're wondering what you need to do, just like the video here. Just hit the like button. And if you're not sure how to like the video, on the screen on which you're watching, there's on the top right, there's 3 dots over there. If you click those dots, some icons with a thumbs up will show up. You can hit that just to say you're trying to support us on here. So over here, I have some self-raising flour, a pinch of salt, and some cocoa powder. Like I said, this recipe is right on the channel, so I will link those previous one in the description box later when the live is done. And the previous videos where I've made these cupcakes are with recipe notes and all of that thing for you. So I'll leave those for you. The food ingredient. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There's Modzi. Modzi, thank you so very much. It's a compliment. I feel a bit weirded out when people say nice things about me, but he appreciates. Is it a he or she? I am so sorry. Delaney! I'm doing a little dance. Delaney is our moderator, an unofficial moderator. I say that just to say Delaney has a job at home and she has stuff going on. So when she can, she shows up and she keeps the chats engaged and she keeps us happy and going. But some days she just can't. So I qualify her position by saying unofficial, just so that she doesn't feel the pressure of being a moderator all the time. So Delaney, it's a pleasure to have you. Can you see me and my little dance? When I showed up, I was like, oh, I hope Delaney makes it so that she doesn't feel like we left her behind. But we're starting the baking of the cupcakes. We're trying to bake the first batch of, let's say, if we can make it, we can try about 80 cupcakes. I'm not sure how many we can make per batch. Well, per batch in this oven is about 36 because you have 3 trays of cupcake cases. But if we make 2 of those trays, then we have about 72, which is like 72, and we need 60. So that is okay. So we'll see, which is amazing. So first of all, in here, I have already added some self-raising flour. We want to make sure we don't have a splatter, and I just want to put that here. So even over here, I have self-raising flour, a pinch of salt, and cocoa powder, and a touch of baking powder. Now I have the liquid ingredients here, and the key thing in this liquid base here is Coca-Cola and brown butter. Brown butter has a very nutty, earthy flavor to it, and it comes through in the base. It will give a very light, nice flavor of chocolate cupcakes. So you want to try that. The recipe is quite adaptable. So in the past, you can replace the liquid ingredient there with anything from juice. Oh, look what's just happened. Oh, what a mess. Okay, let's try and not make so much of a mess here. If I seem distracted, it's because I'm trying to get the best out of this experience here. We have 6 eggs. For the quantity I am making, we need 6 eggs. And I've had to prep the ingredients in advance to make sure that we can get the best out of it. So I am so happy for you being here with me today. It's such a pleasure to have you. Thank you for spending your time here with me. Hopefully I don't make so much of a mess, okay? And is it Modzi? I was asking, what is the pronoun, he or she? Sorry. Okay, let's get here. Okay, let's try to not overbeat this. Oh, look. Okay. This is the reality of baking, okay? It's not perfect. You make a mess and then you clean up your mess. So if you're in there, oh yes, this chocolate cupcake is amazing. The customers, it's a recipe I developed myself, and if you've been here on the channel, you'll find that I like adaptable recipes. Adaptable recipes are recipes that you can swap ingredients around without compromising on your core objective, which is taste, texture, and crumb quality. So yes, look at that. Like the brown butter comes through. I like the flavor of that. Right, I am trying to not make too much of a mess, but it looks like whatever I do, it is going to be messy. So if we get through 72 cupcakes, the 2 batches, that is a win. And then we have, I think for all the batches, it's the it is the vanilla that is going to be more, because we need about 120 plus of those, because when I'm baking large batches too, I have to make room for extra cupcakes for just in case. So Delaney will keep you all entertained in the chat if she has time. She has time. But if you see me disappear off the screen, it is because I have to make room for washing my hands, cleaning this mess. This won't stay on the chat forever. I'll go back and trim those bits out. But if you're here, just bear with me, because we're just hanging out and we're chit-chatting. We're trying to get some work done also. So welcome to the stream. Can I just say, before I started taking on the live, I never thought I could work and talk, because for me, it is either one or the other. And being able to complete a task whilst also staying on top of like giving you information is actually a skill I have to adapt, because for me it's like, have you noticed I can talk for England? Anyway, we're making the cupcakes now. The chocolate cupcakes are fairly easy to make. As you can see, the batter is done. I have lined the cupcake tins also, so I'm gonna just take this out now and move the mixer head out of the way, and then we can line the cupcake tins. Right. Okay. Right. The mixer head is out of the way now. Let's wipe these down, and if you're in the chat, I'm just going to get these cupcakes out of the way, and then I'll be back to catch up with you properly. So look at our chocolate butter. Yeah, let's get our cupcake trays out now. Right, we have a tray of 1 here, a tray of 2, and a tray of 3, because that's 3 per tray. Now, I could have probably completed all 72 cupcakes in one round by employing both mixers. The reason why I didn't do that is because the large industrial sized oven, I'm stood literally in front of my industrial sized oven, and it is, I like it for what it is worth, but it has a sound to it. It hums so loudly. So to be able to complete the live with that, that's just going to interrupt the sound quality here. So I've had to compromise on managing the efficiency of my baking time. So bear with me. So for each cupcake, we are having about 1.5 cups. You want to make sure that when you're filling these up, the trays are deeper. Unfortunately, these are not my deepest trays. I don't know why I'm doing them in these ones. Okay, not to worry, I'll just swap this around. So we have a full cup. This cup measures about 59. Is that supposed to be 1/2 cup or something, or 1/4 cup? 59 mils, right? It gives me a bit more control of how much I can put in there. And this butter rises high, but it doesn't fall over, because this is an intensely rich chocolate batter. So we're looking to see. When I'm undertaking such bakes like this, I'm like, it's one of those days that I wish I had people here with me so you can taste. But there's 56 of you in the chat. Like, people, hello, hello, hello. Where have you all come from? Well, if all 56 of you would hit the like button, YouTube will probably put this video ahead of other bakers who may find it useful. So come on, be helpful to the channel, support us, and hit the like button, because something surely brought you here. And if you're in the chat and you've left how you found me, I will come to you in a moment. But today is Friday. I guess it's TGIF. Tell us something fun about your Friday. I tell you what, my Friday is fun because I am stood here in front of you, living out my passion loudly. I love cakes. Have you noticed? I love cakes. Okay, so my Friday is fun because I am living out my passion loudly, hoping that you enjoy not to eat the cake because you can't eat it, but hopefully you enjoy what I'm doing here. But above all else, we can share some connection over here because your support has been incredibly great for me over here. We are closing in at 5K. When I started this channel 4 years ago, I hoped it would go somewhere, but it was always a lot of work and I was never sure because life was life in, right? It was only this year that I made the commitment. Butter, okay. It was only this year that I made the commitment to put my best effort in it. And yeah, it's been a lot of like falling over and trying to work out what to do. But I'm pleased to be here, and we are a little over, just closer to 4.75 or something like that. So we are about 250 subs away from 5K. Now, in terms of YouTube numbers, you will think 5K is such a small channel, and it may be the case. But imagine 5K, 5,000 people in a stadium, like say in a small, I wouldn't say small, in a conference room somewhere. That's going to be a packed space. You will not even have 5,000 people at your wedding, and weddings are huge, right? So I say that to say I appreciate all of you for being here. Having 54 people in my stream on a Friday afternoon, that's wild to me. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for spending your time with me. Thank you for being supportive of me, right? I feel a little undeserving of that, but that's my imposter syndrome shouting loudly, okay? So thank you. So what's your Friday news, right? Share your good news with us. Tell us what's happening, because we're actually a supportive bunch. There's Delaney. Delaney, what's Friday like? Have you been working? What's, yeah. So for me, my Friday news is I am so happy to be here, to be sharing my passions with you, to be catching up with you. There is no better support than the support of internet people. All of you out here from various locations, various places. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. But outside of that, I am happy that I get to undertake this large bake. It is for a well-respected individual who is celebrating a 60th birthday. What I'll do is that perhaps in the end we will not be able to decorate all of it. I'll see how best I can do this, because I've tried this before in the past where we did the bake. I came back later in the evening to frost the cupcakes. I have quite a lot of work to do, so I am not sure. I'm just doing the best that I can at this moment in time. So perhaps if I come back later, we will be able to frost the cupcakes. But if we don't do that later, you will check out my community post where you will see photos of the finished work. I have done some of that in the past where I have posted the finished work over there, and you will see. So just so that you can have the complete experience of being a part of the process and getting to see what it looks like. But yes, so this is the first 36 cupcakes done now. We have a bit of butter in here. No, don't put that here. That will be messy. Right, I'm going to wipe the table. I'm going to shove that back in the oven, and then I'll catch up with you in the chat before we start the second batch, okay? Let's keep an eye on the time too. It's 2:05 right now. These cupcakes will take anything between 18 to 22 minutes. So if it's 2:05, we're looking at, let's just say 20, is it 23? So let's give it till 2:30. I'll set the alarm for that and we'll see. So I have 3 trays in the oven. The oven is set at 160 degrees C so that it bakes slow. Right, let's have a look at the oven temperature again, because if we get that wrong, we are going to have some problems. Yep, that's 160 degrees C. We're all done here. Now, let's catch up in the chat a little bit. Now, one thing I didn't do, normally when I undertake a bake like this, I'll put some water in my oven to serve as a cooling mechanism. to cool the oven whilst things are happening in there. I haven't done that today because my oven takes a tray of 3, and if I decided to put anything in there before the water will take one whole aspect of the oven, and I really need the space, so that probably affects how the bake happens. But it's a cupcake. There's nothing that this butter is pretty reliable, so it can take a bit of change over there. So I'm not really worried about that. I'm not also fussed about the washing up at the moment, because just to make it a seamless transition from one bake to the other, what I'm going to do is just whip this mixer over for the next batch. Cupcake tins lined. We have our eggs. We have the flour and everything in here already, so I'm sure we are going to be good with that. Having said that, hello again and welcome to the stream. I've just seen 84 people over there. People who are all like, who are you again? Thank you for being here. If you're a baker, let us know where you are, what your interests are, and if you're not a baker, tell us how you found us and why you're here. I'm just curious, because I don't assume that everybody enjoys baking as I do, but it's a pleasure to have you. Delaney is at work. Can we all give Delaney thumbs up and put some heart emojis in the chat for Delaney? She's our moderator. She's at work. Don't tell her employer, okay? She's in the chat and she's trying to moderate. So yes. Oh, Zane, yes, there is 93 now. Can you imagine? Well, it fluctuates. So there is Emir, there's Motzi, there is Abia, Sultana, hi, there is Delaney, there is Zane. Delaney is at work. She's going roller skating tonight. Oh, Delaney has a few hobbies, right? Delaney, we're talking about Delaney, our moderator. Delaney plays music instruments and she's part of a band. Delaney has a job, and Delaney is going roller skating. So yes, Delaney, she's off work right now. Oh, thank you. Okay. I thought she is at work, so she is off work. There is Zane. Oh, all of you are sending Delaney. Okay, those of you who are giving Delaney and myself a wave, we appreciate you. Zane, Zane found me in the shorts. Zane, are you a baker? And yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. But whilst we're still interacting over here, do you want to hit the like button for me, please? Just stop for a minute, look at the top right corner, the 3 dots, click on it. The icon will show up. That is just to tell YouTube that you care, to let YouTube know you're having a great experience. So now, the cupcakes, as you can see, one of the best ways you can actually get the best out of like such a long, intense bake is to make sure you are fairly organized, right? What does organized look like? Organized may look different for many people. And right now, I don't believe I am as organized as I could be, but that comes with the territory of what I'm doing. So much of trying to organize means making sure that you can work ahead of time and anticipate things along the way. So organizing, I made sure that because I was doing a live, I had to sort the ingredients in advance just so that it makes it a seamless live for you. But if I wasn't live streaming this, I still would have to stay organized by measuring my ingredients, because you just want to make sure you keep things moving as quickly as possible. So that is something to do, to note, and also take notes, right? Take notes of your tasks. So if you're a beginner, Hafiz, hello there from Singapore. Thank you for being here. There is 100. This is a record number. Like, who are you people? YouTube, thank you for the opportunity. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? Join us over here, and you will find that we are such a happy bunch over here. We are a few values that we hold over here, right? We're not perfect. Like I can make a perfect cake, even if I say so myself. But that will mean never showing you my mistakes. And you know what? The mistakes comes with the territory, because from the mistakes you learn. So I actually have videos on this channel where you see forms of my mistake, from cakes collapsing to cake layer spilling out to all sorts happening. And that is because I just want to bring you a realistic representation of the cake decorating and the baking process, right? So that's one value proposition, that if you're on this channel and you're starting and you're a beginner and you have worries and you're looking for tips, stay on here, because we will hand you the tips. We will make recommendations for places beyond here that you can get tips from. We try to set you up right so that you know that you are getting the best out of this experience. I will also make recommendations for products. What I don't use, I will not tell you to use, right? Not because I am trying to influence you in the bad way, but I'm just saying, I'm not going to put a product in your face that I know I don't use. So you'll find product listings and photographs of such ingredients even on my community page. And I'll talk long about how I use them, how they benefit my process, and why you should get them. So over here, you get a one-stop shop place for all things baking. So if you're a beginner, hello and welcome. And why do I do that? Because once upon a time, I was a beginner too. It's nearly 10 years now, a long time ago, and now I think I started when I was 12 years old. Okay, don't try to work out my age, but that is by the way. Zane says, last time I made brownie, I didn't realize they have to set outside the oven and I baked them. Oh my God. Okay, when was that? Well, Zane is sharing an experience that he's not a baker, okay? Doesn't bake, but the last time he tried to bake brownies, he didn't realize that they had to set outside the oven, and he baked the brownies for an hour and 30 minutes. Well, I suppose you ended up with burnt brownies at that point. So whilst we're 15 minutes away from our cupcakes getting done, so perhaps it will be good time to whip up this mixer and start the process of the second batch of bakes over here. But perhaps whilst we're at it, I might probably be doing something else. So let's see. It's the same thing, the same process, same ingredients. I'm just going to turn this on slightly. Oh, they were rock hard, no doubt. I mean, brownies are such that I think about 25 minutes you should be done, depending on the quantity. But I suppose if you're not a pro baker and you're just baking just a small batch at home, 18 to 22 minutes should be great to finish a bake. At maximum, depending on the size, say if you had a 12 by 9 pan, you can go up to about 35 minutes. But anything beyond that, my goodness, you're just going to end up with a burnt slab of rock, essentially. So, how did you eat that, Zane? I just want to know. Yeah, a box. So you couldn't even hack a box, man. Hello, honey. Really? What did the instructions say on the box mix? Because that's what I really want to know. Did you follow the instructions? Did you? If you couldn't make a box mix, I have questions. Okay, people. Don't forget, if you're still in the stream with us, don't forget to like the chat so that YouTube will know. Now, we are starting the entire process again, so let's see what we do with that. If you have any questions, I asked earlier, what's your Friday like? Zane is telling us about one time he had baked. And my Friday is that I'm living my dreams right in front of you, and there's a record number of people who are enjoying the stream. So thank you for being here with me. Hopefully we don't make the same mess we made earlier. Well, perhaps next time, Zane, read the instruction before you go throwing out the box, right? So Zane tries to make a brownie from a box mix, throws out the box, and then ends up with a bad bake, baking it for an hour and 30 minutes. And if you're wondering what we are making, we are trying to bake some cupcakes. There's a whole 200 plus cupcake to bake. Next time, Zane, read the box mates before you throw it out. But having said that, let's see. Yep. Now this is the part where I wish I had an assistant doing my washing up for me. Oh God, lesson learned. Yes. So how long ago was that? And would you try baking again? Now the thing with this mixer is that the bottom is a little bit deep. So sometimes when I'm mixing the butter, the paddle attachment doesn't sink in deep enough. So I'm just going to help it along. I like this chocolate cupcake batter, but gosh, it is a bit like, so you can't avoid the mess of it. But it is such a great recipe to make cupcakes out of. Oh, and by the way, it transitions to layer cake. It's actually originally a layer cake recipe, and it makes a good chocolate cake. So if you're looking for a great chocolate cake, help yourself and thank me later. So in the time we have been here, we are nearly baking 72 cupcakes, which is amazing, which means the lives are useful, and I'm excited to see what we get out of these. Okay? Right? Right. So. Oh, Delaney is back. Okay. Delaney, thank you for being here again. You're going roller skating. So what's the rest of your Friday looking like? It's been a little while. I think you missed the last live and you were so gutted. So today I thought, oh, I didn't know that I was going to be on the live because I wasn't sure. There's a lot to do today. And whilst I do enjoy the lives, they also add a layer of task. Right? So let's put this right here. God, I'm trying to avoid the mess, but it looks like try as I may. Oh, it may be a futile process, but hey, let's try our best, right? So now this is the part where, okay, Zane. So that was a year ago. So try another batch this time, but this time read the box mix for the instructions. And make sure you stick with the instructions you read too, okay? But otherwise, well, good for you for trying at least, okay? I can't really blame you for that. You tried. I mean, which means you have a bit of interest in baking, which is a good thing. Not because I love baking, but you know what? Baking can be, it is a stressful thing to master because it requires detail and you have to have some innate abilities about you. You have to be information centered, you have to be very focused, and you have to be, what's the word I'm looking for? It's precision cooking. So you have to have a sense of detail, like understanding detail and sticking with it. But I'm one of those people where when I see a recipe, I can't help but want to tweak it even from the start. And it's taking a bit of discipline to try and curb that behavior. Because when I see a recipe, I'm like, okay, let's try and change this a bit. And I don't know anything about this recipe. I don't know if you like that. So I probably would be Zane if I was reading from a box mix too, because I can hardly stop to read the information. It's like, let's get to the cooking part of it. Can we? So that's just by the way. But, yep. 72 cupcakes nearly done. Oh, this is exciting. Right. This is the part, like I said. Delaney, if you could only teleport yourself through the Look at my hands. If you could only teleport yourself through the phone to come and be my assistant over here, that would be fantastic. Ha ha ha. Delaney would love. Delaney, is that because you actually do enjoy baking that much? Because you know what? Yeah, I think at some point I'm gonna just get myself an assistant. The truth is I can't afford it. So we are trying to fill the next batch of cupcakes again. Right, so let's see how far we get with that. Now, Zane has told us about his baking experience, and we know that is not something you should do when you get a box mix. You make sure you read the box mixes, and that's one baking fail over there. He ended up with a slab. What's your baking fail? Those of you in the chat, do you bake? Have you baked? I'll tell you about mine, and I'll take it all the way back to my very first my very first cake I baked. As in, it's funny now that I am a custom cake business, right? I make custom cakes and all sorts, and my skill has improved so greatly, which I am grateful for. But actually, my business started as a cupcake business. So when my business started, it was Gladys Gourmet Cupcakes, because I started by making cupcakes. I just enjoyed the simplicity of cupcakes and how I will obsess about ingredients in the kitchen, adding them together, and then eventually end up with a cake. Delaney, let me just finish this once, and if you're responding to the chat, I will leave some comment. I'll respond to you. But in the meantime, let's talk about my business and what's how that transitioned. Hopefully, you can find yourself some tips there in the journey. Oh, and by the way, I did try to tell a story about how my baking business started, and I got so animated. I don't suppose I was able to finish that story. Hopefully, I can pick it up sometime, maybe later. I don't know. But I was just telling you about how my business started in a caking disaster. So I started with cupcakes, and it was because cupcakes were easy to make for me, and I knew nothing about I didn't know about baking and what it required. So I just knew that cupcakes were easier, and the intention for cake making itself had started when I worked with a client of mine, and we started cooking as an activity. I shared that story in a previous video. If you go back to the live, you will see my journey or something. It's on the channel in the live session, so you want to check that out for context. But when I decided to pursue baking like at home for myself, it was more cupcakes, and the cupcakes were like easier to make, and I could also package them nicely as presents, because at the time I couldn't afford presents for friends during occasions, and I thought I wanted to give them something without feeling as though it was less than, right? So that was how I ended up like with this cupcake thing, which was in itself exciting. But when I made the cupcakes and gifted them, it wasn't long before people would inquire about cakes, actually. So my first paid cake came when a friend's sister I had made some cupcakes for, took them to work, and the whole workplace was like turned upside down. They wanted a cake. So this person then contacted me to say, I actually want a cake in this flavor of cupcake that you gave to somebody. And I thought YouTube was going to be my teacher. So guess what? I went on YouTube. I found all the information I needed about how to make a layered cake. And boy, oh boy, how did that work out? Let's just say not as good. Because one thing I've come to find, even as a content creator myself, is that whilst we want to give you the detailed information, there are some aspects of that information that you need to be a part of, which is why I ended up creating the live sessions, because the live sessions gives you a chance for you to be a part of the experience. So you can take some notes, you can see the process play out. And if it works, it gives you some confidence about the information. Because sometimes in the edited long form videos, the intention is not to be skimpy with the information, but the goal is to keep your attention. Uh, the whole idea of YouTube as a platform, because our attention is so low in these days, people just keep moving. So even if I have a very detailed, educative, informative video to give you, sometimes unless you're looking for that information specifically for which you will land on the channel page, it is hard to keep your attention, and that hurts the channel. So you want to be able to deliver the information as succinctly as possible, which means that a lot of context is cut out from the information. And I think that is what has set my experience of YouTube in that formative stage 10 years ago, is what informed me about the kind of content creator I want to be. In that, I never want anyone to watch my video and go and try a recipe and be unsure about the outcome. And that can be an incredibly hard thing to achieve, because when you're filming, what you're thinking is different from the process, because you have to film like a filmmaker, be able to take your shots. And then you go to the cutting table, the editing, and you're like, okay, I want to elaborate on this more. How do I do that? And that takes a whole skill. And I'm no filmmaker. I started this with no knowledge of equipment or filming skill at all. All I knew was I could make a cake, and I wanted to pass that information on. Having said that, my first experience of baking a cake didn't go well. The cake itself went okay, but decorating it was the decorating part. Because initially, the gist of cake decorating is you thought the cake, you fill it up, and then you leave it to set and all of that. Oh God, that was hard. Because this was supposed to be a Ninja Turtle cake. I've never covered a cake in fondant before. I didn't know how to derive the Ninja Turtle, and there was supposed to be ninja models on it. Oh my goodness, that was hell. Okay, I literally pulled my lounge table apart, put glass on it, got my Sunstar to help me roll the fondant. Like, you have a 6'1" tall guy trying to push fondant over the table. That was a mess. Okay. But we did make the cake. But there's a chunk of that story of the cake that is hilarious in itself. What happened with that? That was a whole thing. So before the cake actually got made and I got all the help I needed, the first batch of cake that I made melted anyway. That was a whole story too. Because I was working away and I thought I would pre-plan. When I watched the videos, what I wasn't told is that you don't leave the cake at room temperature all day. And guess what? It was a summer season. It's a summer season. And in England, we have like some days, a couple of days in the summer where everything gets hot. If you know anything about English people, we complain about the weather all the time, okay? In Europe over here, the people in the UK, we complain about weather all the time. But we have 3 days where it's so hot. And guess what? I didn't understand that leaving the cake at room temperature doesn't mean leave it on a countertop on a hot weather day when the windows are closed, right? So I worked away and I left the cake on the countertop thinking, when I come back tomorrow, the cake will be room temperature. Well, I came back and the cake had melted. It was gunky. There was things, slimy things. It was a mess. And at 11:02, I literally picked the cake up, slapped it in the bin, and broke down and started crying. I cried like my mama had died. Okay? And then I called my bestie. I'm like, look what happened. It was a mess. It was a whole mess. But my bestie was great. She would calm me down. She was like a calming cloud over me. So she calmed me down. And my sons now went out shopping for ingredients at 11 o'clock for me. So I had a shower, went to sleep so that I could get my head straight, woke up at dawn, and that is what involved like rolling the fondant, making a mess of it. But the cake was delivered, and 10 years later, here I am. Okay? So you live and you learn. That's 2:31. I think our cupcakes The lady says, YouTube leads her to be unsuccessful at cooking. Let's see. Oh my God, our cupcakes are done. If you've been on this channel, you'll find out that my excitement about baking is never like hidden. Okay, I get excited when my bakes turn out great. So I'm excited. Okay, I want to show you. Right, but we have a mess here though. We do. Okay, whew, let's fix this mess. Delaney, where are you? If you're in the chat, it says Anastasia. You know, I can't seem to pronounce the name properly, but what do you call it? Delaney is keeping you all entertained. YouTube leads me to unsuccessful cooking. It doesn't like me. What have you tried cooking on YouTube? Like what channels have you watched that has led to unsuccessful cooking? If you're trying to pick your cooking tips from shorts, girl, stop. You're never going to succeed at that mess. Okay. But if you want some cooking channels, I'll tell you what, a good tip to consider when you're looking for cooking channels or information based, you should look for, say, not the highly produced one. Sometimes you have like, let's say somebody's grandma with a channel where you can see they're just showing you how to cook. There is not much to it. Stay on those channels because those people are just giving you raw detailed information and enjoying the process. They don't have the need to want to cut things out, and so those will help you a lot, right? So stay with those channels. But our cakes are done and I'm just trying to tidy up so that we can have this batch in there whilst also trying to, okay, let's see. Okay, now I'm winging it over here. Right. Okay, the cupcakes baked well, but because I think I was baking them at low, they're a bit wet on the top. So I've just turned it a bit up so that they bake for another 10 minutes over there. And then we'll have these in. Oh, I gave up on YouTube. I just read the box. Yes, are we talking box mixes, Delaney? Right? Whilst we're here, Delaney will keep you in the chat for a minute and let me just tidy the washing up in the corner there. It's so messy. I need to kind of do that so that we can get the mixer back for a batch of bakes. So please bear with me. Delaney, you are so sweet. Yeah, I can do the cooking, live my best life, and you can enjoy a bit of ASMR here. Yeah? Whilst learning to. So you get an all-in-one package here, right? Reason why you should stick on the channel. Okay? Reason why you should stick on here. But Delaney, we love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Maybe one day if you come to the UK, you will be my assistant. Okay? Right. So the hope is that we are able to transition quickly from the chocolate cupcakes to maybe a batch of vanilla cupcakes. We'll see how much we can do. And if it means we have to break the stream, go and come back, we can do that. I just want you to be part of the process so you can see some of the results of what we have done. So I appreciate you for being here. And if you've just landed on the stream and you're wondering what we are doing, I have 200 plus cupcakes, about 240 cupcakes to make, and my hope is to complete them on the stream. I just don't know if we will have enough time to do all of that whilst we're here today. Yeah. In the meantime, our first batch is baking and we are hoping to get that out shortly and see what we can achieve with that. Let's get in there. Okay, right. So a moment of truth, moment of truth, moment of truth, moment of truth. That's a batch out. Okay. Oh, that looks all yum, 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 yum. Right, moment of truth, moment. Okay, right. Actually, I could put that here. We put this here, this here, and Yeah, there you go. And okay, I think I need some oven mitts. There you go. Okay, right. And right. So our 36 cupcakes all baked. Yep. Eh, there you go. But second batch is going in. Okay. Right. Okay. That baked in about 25, 26 minutes. And here are our cupcakes. Look at me. I stumped that on top of so anyway. Right. So when I tell you the recipe is great, I'm not lying, am I? Because you can see the bake here. We have completed it. It looks great. I know, Vivian, when I tell you my recipes are great, because I use them, I try them, I don't charge you for them. So normally you would say cupcakes should wait in there a bit, but they will continue to cook. So I'm just going to take them out and then we'll put them on the tray and then we'll leave them to cool, because we will need these cupcakes to cool quickly. And I will be tearing one opening shortly. Look at that cupcake. Look at that cupcake. How can you not like a cupcake like this, right? So it is light textured. It is full of flavor. A good tip here. When you're on this channel, like I've said, you will hear me say adaptable, adaptable. I literally take the life out of that word. And the reason why that is important to me is that I don't believe one cake suits everybody. You'll be surprised. And I'm not even talking about people with specific dietary preferences. I'm talking about the differences in palate, tolerance for sweetness, people's peculiar needs about food. To succeed as a food business, if you are a baker or you are in any form of business, specifically food, get out of your own way and your own mind and put yourself in the place of the customer and think about the customer that you are in many cases. Like, I'll take a random example as going shopping for clothes. I know Delaney is warning us to put a lock on the Delaney. It's like, you know, the mess that is about to go down in this house, okay? I could tell you some things about me and my cake and the trouble it creates for me in my household. But hey, right, I was talking about what you will need to do as a food business to at least stand a chance of succeeding. You almost have to get out of your own way and treat the food as... The only time the food should count to you is how much time you spend deriving the recipe and if you can vouch for the quality of your recipe. That's all. But otherwise, every time you make a cake or you cook the food, whoever you're cooking it for, see their perspective and understand whether they may prefer something else. And make sure you can factor that in. And I say that to preempt the fact that I don't believe there is one cake for everybody. I could derive the best cake recipe here, And I still won't be satisfied for the fact that it is not for everybody, because some people like very sweet cake, some people don't. I'm African. And for my Africans in the chat, you will know, like West Africa for that matter, I come from Ghana. We didn't grow up with the tolerance of sweetness. Like, you don't spend your lunch money on sweet, you don't eat chocolate. So sugar, the taste of sugar can be incredibly overwhelming for my palate, right? Even as a cake maker. So when I started making cakes, the intention was always to find a cake that suited my palate and hope that other people will like it. And that is what led me here. But even with that well noted intention, as a business, I have to lead with the intention that different cakes are for different people. Now, I can't meet everybody's needs, but as best as possible, I can make my recipes adaptable so that they can be changed around to suit preferences. And that is because these cupcakes are made for a largely Ghanaian audience. It's a 60th birthday party, and my Ghanaian people don't like sugar, right? When they see sugar, they're like, Ghanaian people are the people who will call me and want cake and still tell me that they don't want a dietary specific cake, but they don't want a sweet cake. And you're like, but it's cake though. But being a Ghanaian myself, I understand that language, the detail that says, I want a cake, but I don't want it sweet. I understand that language. So it means that they want a certain cake that is not overwhelmingly sweet. And what does that look like? Does that mean you have to go out of your way to get a whole different recipe to suit that preference? Not necessarily. But if your recipes are adaptable, it means you can swap certain ingredients around for the objective you are aiming for. So back to the cupcakes. I'm making these cupcakes for a largely Ghanaian audience who do not like sugar. So what am I going to do differently? First of all, the cupcake recipe the quantity of sugar can actually take granulated sugar in its full quantity or caster sugar in its full quantity. Now, if you want to enhance flavor and reduce taste of sugar, you can swap the granulated or caster sugar around for half the quantity of brown sugar. So with brown sugar comes like an intense amount of flavor, but a compromise on the sweetness. So you don't get an overwhelmingly sweet cake, but it doesn't mean it's not sugar filled. It's still sugar. It's just a different kind of sugar that enhances the flavor. And I found that most people will call me and be like, oh, I don't like cakes, but when I ate your cake. And I'm like, yeah, I specialize in making cakes for people who don't eat cake, who don't like cake, but somehow they like my cake. And that is because I am answering a specific question here, which is to make the cupcakes adaptable to different taste preferences. So when I say that you have to seek out recipes that are adaptable, there is intention to it. And I hope that with this information, you understand the context of why I bang on about make them adaptable. I think Vivian understands what I'm saying here. She says, you're right. Most of us African ain't got that sweet honey. My son loves chocolate. Oh my God. He loves chocolate froggies. Ooh, them Cadbury's chocolate froggies. That boy is out here, and I'm looking at him like, whose child are you though? Because no, not that amount of chocolate frog, and his dad is just as bad. They love sugar, and I think Vivian can relate to this. Correct me. If you, as an African child, spent your lunch money on sweets and somebody grassed you up, you will get a whooping for eating too much sugar. And there were so many scary misconceptions about sugar, especially for girls. Especially for girls, you'll be told if you eat sugar, your teeth will rot. And we had some scary things told us for not eating sugar. And now I know it's a bunch of if I can use that word, BS, but hey, at least it has helped me maintain a good oral hygiene. Okay, so that is just by the way. So our first batch of cupcakes are done. We have 36 cupcakes here. The second batch is in, which will make it 72 cupcakes. We still have some extra butter. Yes. Yeah. You know what? I could tell you a lot of stories about my childhood and sweets. There's Vivian says yes. There's a lot of myths. Oh my goodness! Growing up, the scary things they used to tell us about sugar, and in my mind, I'm like, stop telling me about sugar and tell me about that uncle I shouldn't go and see. Okay? I guess Vivian, you understand what I'm saying, but that's not a subject we are going to be having on here. Okay? Because we spend a lot of time scaring children about things that are really unnecessary instead of telling them about their own safety and things that should be of great concern, isn't it? Vivian, I am pleased you can relate to my story because half of the time I feel like a unicorn out here. Okay, there is Christina. Christina, hi there. So what is the thing you found interesting here? Is it the story itself? Is it, you know what I'm looking for? Yeah, I was looking for the Christina, where are you joining us from? Joining us from today? Right. So we are finishing off with the rest of the cupcake batter. I think we've done well. So for 7, we have a batch of 72, and then if we can get 12 out of these, so 72 plus 12, that's 84. Oh, my mass is on top, isn't it? 84 cupcakes, and then we will transition to starting with the vanilla cupcakes because we have to. The vanilla are the largest bulk that we have to make. On top of that, I have to worry about what I'm wearing for the occasion tomorrow. I haven't sorted that yet. Small troubles, but hey, we're here, we bake. Okay, we have 12 cupcakes. We've made it. So we've made a batch of 84 cupcakes. Okay, not bad. I actually thought, hi Christina. Okay, you're joining us from London. Thank you for being here today with us. It's such a pleasure to have you, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Okay, that's a bit of ASMR for you, the clanging and the what's not, but that is just by the way. So if you haven't seen the texture of the cupcake, I told you the cupcake is super moist. The cupcake is super moist over here, right? I'm just wary about shoving cupcakes in my mouth because I'm like, if I eat this cupcake, I can't talk to you. I have to wait. But yeah, what a lovely cupcake we have here. The texture is, we have a moist looking, okay, let me stop talking. Thank you, Christina. You were so welcome. I sincerely appreciate your time here. When I look at the chat, at some point there was about 93 people. I'm like, who are all these 93 people who care about me living my baking passions loudly out here? Thank you. But whilst you're at it, if you haven't subscribed yet, join the community here. Look, aren't we a fun bunch over here? And if you're enjoying the stream, hit the thumbs up button so that YouTube knows that you enjoyed your time with us over here. I am eating the cupcake on yours behalf, okay? Have you noticed I'm trying not to talk whilst I have food in my mouth? We had some African myths about talking and eating. I'm like, okay. That's all done now. So our batch of 84, I have eaten one already. Okay, now let's stop this already, shall we? By the way, if you want to know about the cupcake cases I'm using, Delaney, you are one person I will gladly serve a cupcake to, okay? So I'm not teasing you, I'm just eating it on your behalf, okay? Because I know you can't eat a cupcake, and I need you to know that the recipe is good and it yields some great bakes, okay? But you are one person I will gladly make a cupcake for. What is your favorite cake to eat, by the way? If you had to choose a cake to eat, what would be your preferred cake? Right. Okay. So, right. Because we are moving on to prepping for some vanilla cupcakes out here. Christina, how is life in London this afternoon? I know London tends to be a little bit busy, but it's almost 3 p.m. UK time. And for me, I am just excited to be here with you guys, right? So the butter is on the side. I'm going to start by lining the next batch of tins for the vanilla cupcakes, which we are going to be making when the chocolate is finished. Oh, yes, yes. I remember you saying that before, Delaney. Delaney says her favorite cake to bake or favorite cake is grandma's chocolate cake. Oh. Okay, Delaney, you're going cooking with grandma. Well, just make sure that you can get as more tips from grandma as possible, and take notes, because grandmamas know stuff, and sometimes it can be hard to keep a record of them things. So ensure that you get some well-written tips that you can use, my dear. So how many? Look at me. I needed a couple of these. I think I needed 300 of them, and I only bought, I can't say, 225. That's mad, isn't it? Okay, now I'm mad at myself because I'm looking at the cupcake case and I'm like, I should have gotten a bit more than that. Anyway, the clanging is to give you a bit of ASMR, not because I am clanging and noisy, right? So we are done with that, and I'm going to sift out some flour that I need. So this is my household, right? But it takes a village for me to live this passion out here. I won't lie. I have a 6-year-old turning 7 shortly, and having a child and wanting to do this doesn't come easy, okay? So having all the support around me, including my friends and family who support me, and for you who stays here on the stream with me, thank you for supporting my dream. I cannot thank you enough, and I am grateful to have you. To be stood here in the middle of the day when most people probably are at work or doing things that they do not have any other choice but to do them. I am incredibly grateful for my opportunities here, and I want you to know that you being here is something I don't take for granted at all. So thank you. That said, I am just measuring out some flour here that is going to be used for the vanilla cupcake when we get there. The vanilla cupcakes are the largest of the batch, so I am kind of trying to, okay, so let's do this again. There are 2 batches I need to make. Well, The vanilla has to be about 4 batches, but we'll try with 2 to start with, and then we'll see. And a good tip for my vanilla cupcake, the same vanilla cupcakes recipe makes a layered cake. But for the layered cake, I use all round self-raising flour. But for the cupcake version, it's a third of the quantity of self-raising flour. So for instance, I think I need 650 grams of flour. So it's about 250 grams of self-raising flour and the 400 grams of all-purpose or plain flour. That works for me. If I use self-raising flour completely for the cupcake recipe, it will be a disaster. And I've tried it time and again, and it's over raising, it's falling over the edge of the cupcake. I don't want that mess. Okay, so that's where we are. So these are the 2 batches of cupcakes we need to make for the vanilla, and then I think that will be about, like, that should add up to another, that will be a batch of another 72 or 84, and that will be about 160 cupcakes, and then we can make the red velvet ones. So it seems like the stream is going on incredibly well, and I'm so happy to have you here. I was worried that we were going to make it a little bit disjointed, as in moving around, but if you want to hear a bit of the ASMR, let's go do some washing up, and then you can quietly enjoy your ASMR as well. At our, oh, let me make sure. Oh God, I nearly. That's the thing with working in a small kitchen, my dear. Oh, I'm loving the bake so far. It is coming out great. Let's give it another 5 minutes, and then that will be done. And then it will be time to switch up. Okay? We'll be switching up to, if you realize today I didn't put on makeup on my face. You know why? Because when you're baking 200 cupcakes, at some point it's just unrealistic. Okay? So if you see me out here, this is me. Okay? Let's just accept me. Now that's the switch up. Before we do that, I've already measured the margarine over here, which is needed for the vanilla. So I'm prepping for the vanilla cake as we go. And see, this is all part of my prep work. I measured the sugar and everything I need in advance. So that is about 640 grams of caster sugar. Okay. There you go. Right? And then we're going to have some vanilla in here. And that goes in here. I am trying to make about, I think the number keeps changing. Yeah, okay, there you go. So, there you have it. And, yep. So we've set our stuff up for the vanilla to start when we are ready. Okay. Cupcakes are done. Okay. Okay, let's see. This is the problem with working with a small space, yeah? Okay. Right, let's put these 12 cupcakes in already. Right. And okay, another batch of 736 done. Right, we have the cupcakes done, and just in case you want to know what it looks like on the inside, let's pick one and have a look. Does that look like a great cupcake for you? Okay, right, that's enough cupcakes. I am wary. I want to eat a cupcake, but it's too much sugar. Okay, and it's warm also. Okay, I'm gonna put that in a plate here, and then we're going to look at the crumb. We've already done this, but I'm doing it for you who is just here in the chat. It's a light textured cupcake. There's brown sugar in there, so there's a depth of flavor. And I also used brown butter, so it has a nutty So let's get the cupcakes on a tray. And that is a batch of 72 now, 72 cupcakes. Oh, right. Right. If you're just joining the stream and you're wondering what's going on here, I am making about 200 plus cupcakes. It's 240 if I can get it, if I can get that number straight. So we've just finished 2 batches of cupcakes. Okay. So with the 12 baking, we have a batch, a total batch of 84 cupcakes baked and on the live, like chocolate cupcakes. So just in case you're wondering what we did, this is what we did. We literally did this on the live here. So these are all the cupcakes we baked. There's 84. There's a batch of 12 in there, which is baking. Yeah, so the intention is to cool all of these completely, and then salt some chocolate buttercream, and then top them over with some decorated cupcake toppers, really. But yeah, 84 cupcakes in about an hour and 15 minutes. Not so bad. So you know what? I'd like to stay on the chat, but I also realize that time is running and a lot of you are here to support me. So do me a favor, whilst you're in the chat, there's 24 of you, hit the like button for me, please. Just so that YouTube knows that you have been here and you've enjoyed the experience. We talked about my cake failure, a little bit about how my cake business started as a cupcake business, but the details of that story is in a prior video, which I'll leave in the link below. We have looked at the cupcakes and baking through it, and I've handed you tips on how to get the best out of baking large order cakes. So if you've enjoyed this episode here, do like the video and hit the subscribe button, join the community here. But what I'm probably going to do is we're going to leave the chat now.